Okay, is it on YouTube yet? Apologize. I forgot to start on YouTube, but yeah, apologize for the delay. So, yeah, okay, I'm not sure if it's on YouTube at the moment, so let me check my stream, make sure everything is on YouTube and all. So let me see. Alright, is it on YouTube yet? Let me see. Mic test. Okay, alright, seems like it is on YouTube now. Okay, so today I'll be going over if Oni Kitty and if Michael, the latest Iron Saga mechs, are worth to get, and as well as a Tensen Who's guide. And of course, if you're watching this later, everything I talked about will be timestamped in the comments and in the description. So, alright. Also, for those who's wondering, I will be doing guide like this, or Iron Saga guide, maybe about once every month now. Like, I'll wait until everything that happens that month, and then I'll talk about everything, every units that have dropped during the month. So, and no longer, one stream per month, because sometimes there just isn't much, dropped for me to talk about, and sometimes, I don't know, I think just better if I put more things together, so. Alright, let me see. Hi people, welcome. Okay, let me show myself first. Yeah, there you go. Alright, so, welcome. Alright, so, oh, Jesus Christ, hold on. Okay, let me know if the audio is fine. Let me know if, if my voice is fine, if the background music is fine. Let me know, please, and I'll get started. So let's start with some news, of course. For those who already knows, I have, Iron Saga Zero rerun in Iron Saga, which I have posted about it in our community notes, and of course, I'll be updating everything new in our community notes, or just make a video about it if there's something to make a video on. Yeah. Other than that, I don't think there is much that is going on. I'll soon be making videos on the God Zeal, as well as just the new retrofits that they drop, which there is a lot to talk about. So, and of course, if you're watching this in the future, everything I talk about will be timestamped in the comment description. And of course, if you miss asking some questions, like if you have some questions that you couldn't ask me live, just always drop the questions in the comments in the description, or you can also join our Discord to tag me in our Discord to ask the question as well. Alright, so alright, so let's get started with the Iron Saga, the Oni Kitty and Michael, because I don't actually have Michael and Oni Kitty in Iron Saga NC, so I wouldn't be going to builds because I don't have enough experience building them. However, I do have experience fighting against them, and as well as just hearing people's thoughts on it in NC, like the top players in NC, on how they feel about the mecha. So, and I'll be explaining these two mecha based on those, and of course talking about if it's worth it, because don't take this as me saying Oni Kitty and Michael was bad, but more so there are better units, or a new generation is upon us. Like a new generation, if NC follows. If Ian follows what NC does, then a new generation of PvP mech is coming soon. That will come in pretty much in a succession. And any mecha that is after those, or any mecha now that is after those, might not be as viable in PvP overall. So, and especially when Oni Kitty and Michael both are not really that useful in PvE yet. So if you're someone who want to save money for the maximum strength, then I would definitely suggest you to save on Oni Kitty and Michael. Even Tensen Who as well, even though I said Tensen Who was pretty good, because again, the new generation of PvP mecha is coming soon, and those are gonna be the heavy hitters, the things that you want to save for if you want to do PvP in a meta level. Of course, if you're not doing PvP in the meta level, Oni Kitty, Michael can easily kill, the new generation of mecha soon, if you're not fighting in like top 100 or something like that. So, alright, so, Jesus Christ, alright. So let's start with Michael. So Michael, pretty long chassis and all beam, and it's pretty interesting. Now, I will be using my NC because overall NC is usually more accurate, and I can just translate, you know, how it actually was, and or I'll just be talking about what's it called? I'll just be talking about what is more special about this unit and not go into, you know, every single details of the unit. So Michael, of course, he got the you know, the usual final damage reduction and final damage value increase by 40%, just a standard mecha. Now even though just this is not really enough into this meta anymore, but yeah, whenever enemy attacks, within 1 second, it could not deal damage to Michael. Now this skill is good, but it is not enough. Like, it is probably about, yeah, again, like, how to say, it's like you get 1 second of immunity against one unit about like every 6 seconds, which is not that enough into this meta where, you know, 0 or just there's constant pain, I guess, on the field, that this skill, although it's good, you know, having a skill that basically just makes someone unable to damage you, of course it also, you know, cleanse, but again, in a meta where the whole field is constantly surrounded with matte white CCs as well as just matte white huge damage pangs, this skill alone is not gonna be, you know, that helpful. I mean, it is good that it has it, but compared to other units, like for example, compared to Lucifer's, you know, double health bar, compared to compared to the double health bar, compared to just other skills, right, that we have, it is definitely not that enough in my opinion. So of course it also gets some damage increase, that is also good as well, because, you know, Michael is a range unit, so it's supposed to be doing the damage, but again, in my opinion, is not that enough. Yeah. Oh, never mind. It's not cleanse buff. Is, you know, it'll cleanse enemies buff, which again, I don't think is that consistent, and I don't think is that enough, especially into this meta. But again, it is still good that it has this, but I just wish, you know, there are better, you know, there are either you went all on survivability like Tensen Who, or you go for all, you know, pure offensive. This one is just kind of like half. I mean, its action is offensive, but it's like, I don't know, it's just not enough, I guess, for mecha in today. So, and now for second chances, you know, light attack every 10 times, it will basically put a cross on a target and maximum 2 crosses, and every layer of the cross, it will make then take 18% more light attribute damage, and of course, at max layers, it will explode after 7 seconds, and yeah, I don't know what's going on. Okay, so good that it has, like, okay, so good that it has this, but in PvP, of course, that is just extra damage, so that's pretty good, but it is nothing that can really, you know, one shot, or nothing that's too crazy that can one-shot people, you know, in the battlefield. Like, of course, because Michael does have a lot of AoEs, light attacks, so I guess it's good for applying a lot of the cross layers onto pretty much all the enemies. But again, first of all, it doesn't really have any HP removal, and it is not Tian Who Kai, yeah, and it is not Tensen Who, where it is like, it shoots so much bullet that can trigger its chassis over and over and over to basically one-shot Zero or one-shot, you know, Gremlin Kaisers. So yeah, there's just some limitation on this skill that I don't think it's I don't think it's anything too crazy, especially in today's standards. It's, you know, it's light attack will, you know, its light attack increase on the enemies maybe can work if we ever get a light like a beam DPS in PvE, but other than that, it is really just underwhelming, I should say. Especially compared to the mecha that we will get soon, which is Yuehua, which have HP removal, and HP removal is crazy strong compared to whatever this is. You gotta wait for 7 seconds for it to explode, and it will only get 18% damage increases, just not enough. However, it does make up with its incredible pretty much actions and weapons. Now it is incredible that it has these like map wide attacks, just overall I guess just good DPS, good constant DPSs, and of course if you're not a top player, this will be really good, in PvE modes, or just in most or if you're not in top PvP metas, your Michael can be one-shotting people, with all of those. But again, in a top PvP meta, this is not enough. Yeah, in a top PvP meta, this is not enough. Like, this thing is not gonna be killing Zero as quickly as, for example, Tensen Who, where it can just rely on his chassis. And it's like, you couldn't see how strong it was even at the beginning, I guess. I don't know. It's just pretty underwhelming, yeah. But again, if you're someone who is not in top PvP, then and if you get Michael because you like Michael, or even if you're someone in top PvP and you like Michael and you use it, Michael will work. Yeah, Michael will definitely work. Like for example, yeah, Byron can carry this. Byron can carry this unit. Byron can keep this unit alive while it keep on doing DPS onto enemies. But again, it got nothing once Yuehua released with its HP removals, because there's no cooldown on the HP removals, and it can just be almost one-shotting enemies pretty quickly. While this unit is more of a, it can do damage, it can give everyone debuff, it can make everyone make all the enemies get the debuff from the cross, and just extra damage for all enemies. But again, yeah, 2025, not enough. But again, I don't want to sound like this unit is bad. It's just for top PvP, you really can skip this mecha. And yeah, I don't know what best way to say it. Again, if the next few units are not like a new generation of mecha where you just unkillable, you're either unkillable or both unkillable, and you can remove enemies' HP just by hitting them, it's hard to not compare this, with them. So again, highly recommend you save if you don't like Michael, or if you don't fancy Michael's design. If you fancy Michael's design, then you can get it, and it can it can do work in, for example, not top PvP metas, or even in top PvP metas for now, and maybe in beam PvE boss mode, and this will probably be the best beam support, if not the DPS support in like beam only bosses or something like that. So yeah. And of course, this mecha can probably carry you through the entirety of, or probably not entirety, but it can be a DPS for the entirety of the PvE stage if you're a new player who got this mecha. So the cleansing, like the enemy cleansing one, is pretty good. Again, in today's meta, there is a lot of way that you can do that if you really want to do it, and but the restriction of having enemies to attack Michael is not that great, because if your enemy is attacking Michael, then something is probably wrong. You're probably the last unit left in the entire game, and you're gonna get gained up and die. So yeah, of course you can put it with Byron, but again, you're putting with Byron, you're not wasting Byron, but like your Byron wouldn't be able to be used on something else, especially when Michael requires Byron pretty much. So not Byron, yeah, Byron. Yeah, I guess. Well, hopefully one day we get a beam DPS in PvE, and we can use Michael as a support. And if Michael do get attacked, the boss will be cleansed as well, so that would be pretty cool. But otherwise, it is not a top player choice. Yeah, it's not a top player choice. And even if you're free to play, you probably should wait for something, something later. But again, if you like Michael and you get it, it is good. It can do its job. But just nothing compared to what we have in the future, which is the stupid trio that I can show you guys right now. That is starting from right by Onigiri. We got Xiansheng, which is just make your whole team unkillable. Like Xiansheng, if like you couldn't even make him die. If it survives, even for a little bit, like 10 seconds after the match, it will be hard for it to die, even if he wants to die. Yuehua, again, I already talked about it, HP removal, it was still being used even till this day in NC. I mean, you can just, HP removal, Zero got nothing on that, I guess. Xiaolong, both can be tanky and have HP removal, like, come on. Yeah, it's pretty sad. Unfortunate, I guess. Alright, so that should be it about Michaels. Again, I wouldn't get into builds because again, I don't have the builds. I don't have the unit in NC, so I don't have experience building it. But I do have experience using it or fighting against it. And when I was fighting against it, it definitely isn't. How do I say? It is not a necessity. Like even when I'm fighting against team with Michaels, it is not something that I feel threatened about. Especially when, yeah, I don't know. It's like Lucifer is better than both Onikiri and Michael in most aspect, or not most aspect, but in terms of overall value, I guess, for both PvP and PvE. So yeah, Lucifer, probably not Kimi, probably not Tian, but yeah, definitely Lucifer, even Ling Zhu or something like that. So yeah. Alright, so now let's get into Onikiri. Let me read some chats real quick. Didn't seem but better alternative. Yeah, again, yeah, it's CC build, but it's not like hard CC, I should say. Yeah, or it's not as hard of a CC compared to Tian or whatever mecha that's coming soon with better CC abilities, or just even the CC units before it. So alright, now Oni Kitty. Now I'll be going back to NC. So okay, hold on, one thing I want to check about. Okay, never mind. Okay, you have sword melee and not fist melee, so that's kind of garbage. Well, not garbage, but it's kind of sad that it doesn't have a fist melee or something like that. So that means it's built on pretty much pure range, and your Byron couldn't really rely on fist or claws or fist. You couldn't rely on fist to do more damage, and you couldn't rely on claws to like get the HP back if you're pairing it with Byron. So okay, now Oni Kitty. We got a standard Scorpion running back make all damage with Byron works well. Yeah, works well for now. Yeah, definitely works. Yeah, definitely will work for now. But it's just that in like a month or two, when Yuehua drops, like that is gonna be very sad. Of course, but Michael can kill Yuehua if Michael gets to kill Yuehua, right? If he can do that, but you don't know if Yuehua will kill your Michael first, or if your Michael will kill their Yuehua first. And since Yuehua can basically remove enemies' HP pretty consistently, yeah. Hopefully Michael, if you're rolling Michael now, right? Definitely use it now. Like use it now before the new unit drops. Like it can probably still exist with, or that like in top PvP, right? You can probably still do in top 100, even after Xiansheng drops. But after Yuehua comes out, then Yuehua is gonna be dominating pretty much until today, like until NC today. So, yeah. Onigiri, yeah. So now Onigiri, 40%, value reduction, the usual 40% things, which is pretty cool. And of course, in his secondary mode, it can get up to 70%, which is pretty awesome. Well, it's awesome, but like, it's a bare minimum, I should say, for today's mecha. So, Onigiri did get some buff, because back then it was kind of even worse, but now that it is at least a little bit more, I should say, usable. Even though, again, just like Michael, it is not as visibly strong, or it is not as I don't know, it's not as visibly strong compared to something like Tensen Who or Lucifer, where 2 HP bars and you can just regenerate HP bar, as it goes, right? Basically, whenever it takes 15% HP, you can go into like the the bigger fist mode, and 3 times after it uses the an action over 5 seconds, which is usually XO, which is the big damage units, it will turn back to the the normal sword modes, which is pretty good because the transformation, both it regenerates your HP, of course, and of course it is almost a get out of jail skill, which is pretty good into this meta with a transformation. So it's definitely good on that front, especially when you can trigger pretty much every 15% HP, and you can and if the enemy doesn't do enough HP, you can just regen a lot of those HP back. That's pretty good. So tanky wise, it can already survive by itself essentially, and of course damage wise or offensive wise, it can do extra 30% final damage value on top of that 40% final damage base final damage value increase, and of course every 6 seconds it can pretty much do a force action on the enemies to make them scared, and if the enemy are within 4 body space of Onikiri, then all of them will be scared, which again is pretty strong. Like if this managed to trigger in PvP, it can turn the tide of battle, and especially when it can do it every 6 seconds, that's pretty awesome. But again, how do you how does this thing survive the walls of CCs, on the field, and of course Zero's grab? I mean, it can get over Zero's grab with the, with the 15% HP regen probably, but compared to the units today, it's not as or Chesses alone, it is not as stupid as Lucifer, where it can just it have 2 HP bars, all of them will be regenerating pretty fast, and if you pair with Baron, it can just be almost unkillable. Onikiri can still be killed. If it just get unlucky, it turns into the fist mode, and then it gets CC until it died. That can definitely happen as well. So it is it is less safe, in my opinion, than Lucifer almost, even if the transformation can be a get out of jail card. So yeah, and it has to use 3 XO before it can go back to this original form. This can easily go wrong, where it never get back. It never get a chance to go back to its original form. If you have a condition where if it takes another 50% damage before it can use 3 of the X ult, then it can transform back, then I think that'll be pretty awesome, because it guarantees you can change back to get the get out of jail card, as well as just just both the get out of jail card and I don't know, just it can guarantee it to transform back to get the to get a transform, instead of potentially getting stuck forever permanently in the quote unquote stronger mode, to be one-shotted there. So yeah, I think this is okay. I think the big difference between Lucifer and Onikiri is that Lucifer can transform back, because without needing a condition where every about I forgot how much it was, like 30% or 50%, like every that much percentage damage taken, it can transform back to its or like other HP bars. While Onikiri, you can transform, and that transform is good, but then in today's meta where Wolong is CCing everything, and Lilith, we got all those crazy CC abilities and just crazy first grabs, you might just die before you use 3 moves that has more than 5-second action cooldowns. And I don't know if you have to finish the actions, but if you have to finish the action, that's even harder, because there's no guarantee you can finish actions in today's meta. There's no guarantee if your action will be cut before you can do that. I guess it does have this, the force action move if his attack hits, but again, requires attack to be hit first. So you gotta somehow walk through all the CCs to attack enemies. So they just hope it doesn't die before that happens, I guess. So, but yeah, at a glance, it's still pretty good. Again, if you're someone who likes Onikiri's design, if you get his unit, definitely works. Definitely works. But you just have to figure it out. In top PvPs, as I said about the problems before. In top VPs, it might struggle because of that. Granted, you had to be very unlucky for all those to happen a lot. But again, if you ever wonder why Onikiri just dies despite it can do all those, just know that this might be what happens. You know, just get CC to death on a stronger mode, and yeah, and that's it. and that was that. So yeah, again, if you get this unit, again, it can do everything it does pretty well, especially if your team is built. Like for example, if your team is built to a point where you can't prevent enemy, where you can either protect your Onikiri well, or you can CC enemies well, then that's pretty awesome. You know, like your Onikiri can be doing all the CCs, you know, all the force actions and all of the you know, the form transformations and stuff like that. That'll be pretty good. But again, depend on your team, you know, depend on your team setup, and yeah, and of course, just like Michael, in a few months, like in 2 months from now, the whole meta is going to change with Xiansheng, with Xiansheng, with Yuehua, with Xianglong, all those units gonna come out. You know, Onikiri just feels like a unit that is supposed to be come out before Lucifer. So yeah. But at least you got fist melee though, so it can potentially kill Zero with super robot fist, and of course you can potentially regen HP back using claws if you're pairing with Byron, if you're pairing with Hongwu and stuff like that. So yeah, and of course they got 2-sword melee, that's also pretty good as well. So yeah, in PvE in PvE is not gonna work with his chassis. You know, it gotta turn into the super mode, and the super mode will turn back, after 3 things. So again, what I'm talking about is top PvP. You know, top PvP and top PvE. If you're not in top PvP and top PvE, great unit, like top units. But if you're in top PvP and top PvE, which is like top 100, I mean, then go ahead. These units were pretty awesome for you. If you're not in like top. If you're not in top 100, but if you're in top 100, you might as well get, or you should save. But if you're in top 100, then you might as well use Lucifer than this unit, or maybe have Lucifer to be on a unit, or maybe have Lucifer to get the better treatment in your team building instead of him, because Lucifer can do more in what's called in that, or guess what's called in the mode, I should say. So yeah, but I just think it's a bit unfortunate. Like, it really should have come up before Lucifer, because again, the Lucifers, yeah, I don't know why. Like, okay, they can fix this unit so easily if they just added the condition to turn back, right? If it take another 15% damage before it uses the 3 actions, it can turn back. I think that would be so much better, because the 70% final damage reduction is not gonna save it. Like, heck, freaking Tian has more than 70% final damage reduction, and that's not enough. Like, that's literally not enough against the certain type of damage. So yeah, CC is the god. Like, CC is the god of this game at the moment, and if you couldn't CC, you couldn't do damage anyway. So oh well. I mean, in 1v1 though, I think that might be pretty cool. Especially you can bursts and stuff like that, I guess. So, well, one thing cool about Onikiri is that if you pair it with her, okay, so yeah, if you pair with, hold on, Jesus Christ, where is it? If you pair with yeah, if you pair with what is it called? If you pair with her special corporate skill, you can actually immediately activate Onikiri's super mode, and that can be a pretty good burst. So maybe you can try that. Like, if anyone want to try, you can probably try it. But again, you probably want to take advantage of the first transformation. Because again, the transformation, if not a get out of jail card, is a really good defensive move, I guess. Like, it's better than Lucifer's transformation. Well, Lucifer doesn't even transform, but it's a good transformation, so that might not be good. But if you're going for something like more bursty, you can probably use her special if you want to make her if you want to make Onikiri immediately goes for the quote unquote stronger move, which in my opinion is not the stronger move. the stronger move. Alright, so that should be it about Oni Kitty. Again, I wouldn't go into build because I don't have it in NC. And back in NC when this unit come out, I rarely see Oni Kitty. Like, I rarely fought against Oni Kitty, and when I do fight against it, it's not as threatening as, for example, anything before it. Like, for example, yeah, like even Tensen Who is more threatening than Onikiri. Or I guess even Ling Zhu, in my opinion, are more threatening than Onikiri. So yeah, Onikiri really should have come out like after him, like after this person. I think. Yeah, both Michael and Onikiri really should have come out. Maybe around Ling Zhu and TM maybe, and I think that would be pretty fair. I think. Well, I mean, we also have Kimi, you know. We also have this thing, but this guy's almost free. Yeah, this guy's almost about free, so I wouldn't count this one in. But yeah, probably somewhere around, yes, just before Lucifer. Yeah, before Lucifer, I think it would have been much better because we have Lucifer, like this strong of a mecha that come out. Yeah, Lucifer and Wolong. Yeah, if we have this strong of a Lucifer and Wolong that before them, it really just make people like, if you want to go for optimally, like let's say if we don't know any mecha after this one, you might as well roll Lucifer. But now that we know about the new generation of mecha, literally the cutoff point, yeah, literally the cutoff point is Onikiri, and after that it's just a new generation of mecha. Like anything under Onikiri is like is unexistent now in top PvP, and then everything above Shensheng, all these people, like most of these people, aside from that's not How Dragon. I mean, even How Dragon, it might be usable, but yeah, anything before, like anything after Shensheng is like, it doesn't matter which one you roll, right? It doesn't matter who you roll after Shensheng, it will be worth it. Like somehow, like if you roll anything after Shensheng, like if you just come into the game and you roll something like any of these things, it will be worth it somehow. And then yeah, and then before Shensheng, pretty much only Lucifer and Ling Zhu is worth rolling, and after that it's just, yeah, kind of sad, I guess. Well, I guess we got this guy for PvE, I guess, and then more under, then we got PvE max. So, well, this exclusive retrofit, but again, rolling retrofits are always not that good of a move in terms of, you know, because you don't know if, you know, like, because you don't know if you can get all 5 copies, right? And that can be a pretty tall orders. Alright, so that should be it about Onikiri. Let's talk about Tensen Who, and while we're at it, let me answer some questions. So Onikiri, never miss on the home can help, yeah. Non-mecha. Oh, let's see, I didn't know, yeah, I didn't know. But it's interesting though. Interesting. Alright, so okay, so that should be it about Onikiri. Let's get into Tensen Who. So where's Tensen Who? Again, I'll be talking about in EN or in NC. So Tensen Who, as I talk about in my videos, pretty awesome. Actually, hold on. I think it might be easier if I do talk about it in like using EN as well. So so let me go into retrofits and let me go into Tensen Who. Hold on, do I have? Hold on, where is it? Tensen Who. Where's somewhere here? Again, I'm on my test account. Oh, this is on my main account. So yeah, alright, where's Tensen Who? There you go, Tensen Who. Alright, some surprise retrofit on the Tensen Who. So found damage reduction to 30%, you know, just standard things we have. Upon receiving damage, enter stealth for 1 second and release spiritual attack immediately. That's pretty broken. Now it shoots a ton of bullets out, as I'm pretty sure everyone have already seen it. But what's scary about this move is more so its combination of that along with its second chances, because, you know, just having a lot of more hits is not enough to penetrate, you know, zeros, you know, HP and such like that, right? But combine this with, for every 10 range attacks, apply additional damage. Now that's very ominous in English. It's just, oh, what do you mean apply additional damage? It's not as strong, but it is. Additional damage in this game are usually unnegatable and usually are a certain percentage of damage, and not just, you know, like some, you know, it's scary, I should say. Yeah, it's scary damages. And even if Tensen's bullets cannot damage 0. Yeah, even if it couldn't do that, the amount of multi-hits that it does, combine it with that, with that chances, that's enough. Like, it just shoots 0 like almost 100 times and just kills 0 in one hit, because I guess the more the bullet hit, the more, the triggering of the additional damages, and it can just not just 0, it can probably kill anything, like anything if they're not in like some kind of mode that can be immune to it, like either G mode or some. I mean, G mode probably couldn't even immune to it, but some kind of mode that couldn't immune to damage or something, or kind of state to immune to damage, then it probably can get almost one-shotted, because stuff like that. But the thing is, right, most mecha now does have state. Like for example, even Oni Kitty, Oni Kitty transformation can probably stop a lot of this. Lucifer's, I'm not sure if Lucifer can, but probably it probably can, especially if you're paralleling it with home and stuff like that. But if you against something that is more clunky, like for example 0, right? 0, although you got the super chassis, the super chassis, but if it met something like this, every 10 range attack apply additional damage, and when Tensen Who's this little move does so much, like shot so much attacks, it can really just give 0. It can just chew through 0's HP, because again, it doesn't really have anything meaningful that can probably stop it, unless you have some specific pilots on it, which you want to go for full HP, considering it is already pretty clunky for 0 to exist without, like, you might as well make 0 more clunky, I guess, or more HP, because if you don't, it might just die to regular things, instead of, being something that is more scarier to 0, like some more collision damage or some other stuff like that. So, I mean, most use disaster on it, which can probably help for a little bit, but yeah, it's not that enough, I guess. So, yeah, or not enough for this to survive, not enough to survive this skill. So yeah. And of course, during movement, it can increase mobility and dodging inherent bullets and recover some HP, which is not bad. Pretty good to have, and can potentially. One thing is, most attack are full, map wipe, or you wouldn't get hit by most attack if it's not map, full map AOE CCs. So in my opinion, the healing part is probably the most better, the better one, I should say. So, and of course 50% to dodge melee attack, that's pretty broken. 50% again, 50% chance to dodge things are pretty scary. We've already seen that on Lingzu. And of course you got tuning fork, where melee attack hitting it can just stun it, which is pretty much, it counters every single melee unit in the game at the moment, like, and every single melee unit that doesn't have some kind of special animation that can do things on it. Like even when Tensen Who is knocked down, even when Tensen Who is in CC'd, it can just have a permanent tuning for effect, which again counters every single melee attack enemy in the game, which I can just show you guys right now. So yeah, this kind of like, it's just kind of, maybe I can probably see the gimmick. Like you can say it is winning in the gimmick. Look at this. You can say it is winning in the gimmick department, I guess. It doesn't even have attacks. I can probably see it, yeah, winning in a gimmick department. But again, most manga now just rely on the gimmicks. Pure stats can be scary, but yeah, gimmick in this game is still so much I guess better. And what Michael lack is what Michael lack is just a good gimmick, I should say, for it to do whatever Tensen is doing. And especially when Michael is picky about pilots, because it needs the top of the top pilots to survive, like Byron's. While Tensen can just survive on his own due to his gimmicks. It doesn't even need, it probably needs final damage up and downs and stuff like that, but in my opinion, even if Tensen doesn't have the the stats increase, it can still be better than Michael and Onikiri into this meta, just because of the gimmick that it has. So like, look at this, it just counters every single mini unit just from that one single line. Like Onikiri couldn't do that, Michael couldn't do that. Like, it's like sad. Well, of course, Onikiri and Michael are probably better against more modern units, because Onikiri and Michael has a more modern moveset compared to Tian, but Tian is better against the more older clunky units, or just melee unit, like unit with like pure melee, I guess. But other than that, probably should have build right now. Have a new build. Yeah. I'll get into the builds, but welcome. So, yeah, pretty awesome. Like, just by seeing this, you can see how strong it is, and the thing is, good thing he is fighting against, good thing he is fighting against, Gaogai Gar, because Gaogai Gar is actually more modern than Zero in terms of moveset, so you can actually like survive it a tiny little bit. Well, if this is against Zero would have been dead much quicker. So yeah. So pretty awesome. Tian. Other things, nothing too much special. It had fist melee, so that's pretty good. 5-star. So if you want to really kill Zero, you can probably put in super raw fist, and if not, you can probably use claws if you want to. But the thing is, most damage doesn't really come from Tension, because most Tension damage come from is extra shooting. So there's a reason why I left the builds on a bullet to be empty, because you don't need damage on Tension because it can already do damage. What you want is more bullet, I should say, or more bullet for them to last longer. Therefore, something like this one, right? Something like this can probably work, because it can make your drone last longer, and it can also just increase drones capacities. So yeah, in my opinion, this might be one of the best thing to put on it. But let's say if you're using it with Byron, right? Like if you want to, okay, first of all, Tension doesn't need Byron to survive. Tension can be put on anything you want, literally anything you want. As you can see already, you can hold its own against most, even modern units. So if you put it on Byron, you can probably use something like the claws, so you can have more synergy between Byron as well as other units, or balance its win and stuff like that, because they have fist melee. But for now, I'm put it back to Saga, or just any support unit. Like you can put it on, if you want to, you can put it on Rhea as well, or just any other support unit. It's not picky. Like Tension should be your last unit to choose, because it is just so, how do you say, it just so doesn't need any. It doesn't need babysitting, I should say. Compared to compared to Onikiri, compared to Michael, Tensen Who does not need to babysit, I should say. So, but yeah, you can just stand alone. Like even if Tensen Who is in the middle of so much CC, it is in the middle of the grab, it got stun locked by Warlong, all this happening. This thing, like Tensen Who can still do its job of his like counter shoot, and of course it will be forking along the way and just giving, like, it's a porcupine essentially, right? Like the enemy is dealing damage to you, but the enemy is being heavily slowed down and also getting shot by thousands of bullets at the same time, most of the time. So yeah, and of course it got stealth. It got stealth. You can take away aggro, so you can safely put your support pilots in there without anything. It doesn't really need anything to keep it alive. Just stand alone there and done. So yeah. Well, okay, this is nowhere of me saying you should get Tensen Who, because you don't want to get a unit that is retrophy. Like, let's say if you have no copies of Tensen Who, you don't want to get Tensen Who, because again, that's way too much investment for this unit, which would be not as good once the new generation of PvP mecha, like anything after Tian Kai or anything after Xiansheng can compare. So definitely don't roll this unit. Like, you might as well roll Oni Kitty if you want, like if you have no copies of Tensen Who, because again, 5 copies is way too tough of an order. If there's any silver lining for Onikiri and Michael, is that they are usable as 7-star. Well, Tensen Who needs 10-star or needs 11-star, because, or 9-star, I guess, because yeah, you get a 9-star and then you do 2 trophy in order for it to to perform as well as shown, I guess. So yeah. Alright, so don't listen to this, because again, the damage doesn't come from the bullet. The damage don't come from ether shell. Like, the damage come from again, the more bullet you can shoot. So for example, if you want to maximize your bullet count, you can even put on, you know, this thing on if you want. But in my opinion, I like it to spam more actions a little bit, because you know, it by spamming more actions, it can shoot more onto the enemies using his actions. So I prefer that, but I prefer that more. And of course, you know, when you're in action, you can in G mode and stuff like that, or you're invincible and stuff like that. So yeah. And let's put on this one for more. And you know, if as you ever get this, you can probably use this as well. Like that can work too. Like welcome to EN. But by the time this part comes to EN, you know, Tensen Who is already not that useful anymore. So for now, I'll just put on this one, because you know that's what EN have at the moment. And of course, if you want to go full offensive, you can go for, you know, then go for this one that get even more bullets onto your shoots. But again, in PvP, sure, even though Tensen Who is, you know, have all this self-protective abilities, but you can never be too safe in PvP. You don't know if one blast from Michael or one melee from Oni Kitty, or oh yeah, actually no, probably not Oni Kitty, because Oni Kitty is full melee and can probably get screwed what by, you know, by this guy. But let's say if you're fighting as Michael, and Michael can shoot you without being stunned and stuff like that, then this is a time where, you know, this might come in handy for you to not get as destroyed, or even though it is not exactly, yeah, I don't know, yeah, either this one or, you know, or the emergency detach system. Stabilizer is not really that useful anymore, especially when what's it called, Tensen doesn't need to be standing up to do damage or to cause people pain. So it's usually just emergency detach or the battery thing. Or if you want to go for more offensive, you can obviously go for this one as well, like they recommended. But usually, yeah, batteries and emergency detach is what I'll go for. So, and for the armor, obviously is firm seal, because it already have forks, so just firm seal all the way. If the meta is more ranged, actually never mind. Yeah, just keep firm seal on. I think it's better. Maybe in some cases you can probably use the high armor if depending on the meta, like depending on the enemy's team, but you want to have firm seal somewhere else, like maybe on a co-pilot skill or something like that. So, but for now, yeah, definitely, yeah, you know what, hold on, yeah, if you want to go for counter everything, you can probably go for high armor for anti-range, and then you can put on firm steel co-pilot skill, and that would be pretty cool actually. Like you're because you know, Tensen is not exactly like too survivable against range. Like Michael can probably kill it. Like Michael, if he got a good shot on there, can probably kill this guy, because it doesn't have anything for it, I guess. So if you want to, you can probably go for something like this. That would be pretty cool. But again, just know if you're using high armor or the shield armor, you want to have firm seal somewhere else. So but yeah, and then for the coatings, I'm using S code because you don't know, you know, when you might get hit by a big hit, in my opinion. So I think that's a bit more safer. But again, you can go for anything else, like tilted armor if you want to. If you want to go for other ones, like eye armor can probably work as well. You can get some heals, or you know, yeah, just the usual PvP parts, like liquid armor if you don't get one-shotted. Even this armor, just, you know, some of the armors, it doesn't, yeah, it's not really scale CCs because they have the forged action thing from the chassis. So yeah, and then for the pets, I will always go for Scorpion, because it's just more CCs for Tensen, because again, Tensen can do damage, but sometimes it couldn't do the entirety of the damage because it lacks the CCs. So, and because it shoots so much bullets, it can trigger a lot of Scorpions, so that's extra damage and just more unnegatable CCs. So I think Scorpion is just made for this unit, and I don't think there's any chance I'll take Scorpion off unless I just purely want Tensen to survive. Which, if I want to do that, I might as well just use another unit if I really want this unit to survive. Like I would just put Saga on Grimazing Kaiser or something like that, so I can just not care about it. So, and not on, you know, and not on Tensen Who. So But yeah, so I will go for Scorpion most of the time. And then now for the co-pilot skill. Now co-pilot skill really depends on your pilot, you know, like, and your build, of course. Like, just not picky again. Not picky about co-pilot. Not picky about pilot. Just depend on what you have, right? You can go for the most basic, you know, that you can go for the most basic revive, like that can work as well. Or just some other, you know, or just some other death, like on death skills that can definitely work as well, just for extra life. Because, you know, if you give your Tian an extra life, you can probably do even more abilities. It can be more of a porcupine and headache for the enemies. So I think that can definitely help as well. But again, really depends on what you have. Yeah, really depends on what you have. And again, of course, really depends on your unit and your team setup. Like, for example, if you want to use it with you know, with Baron, right? If you're using it with Baron, you have the claws on. Your build has already finished everything. Like, this is perfect. Like, you don't need anything else. The thing doesn't really isn't really scared of anything. And then, so I guess you can just use whatever your team wants. Like, for example, you can use low support skill, or just some other, like even love if you want to, right? Just for love carrier, and this can work as well. So yeah, definitely depending on the pilots. And for example, for Rhea can probably put on for example, where is it? Put on, you know, her. But the thing is, right? The funny thing is that Tian can do damage even when it is not, like, even when it's CC. So maybe this skill is not as good, considering it can, again, it's like a porcupine, right? When it is shooting the enemies, you know, she's not gonna be healing as much, but it is something that you can use on it as well if you want to. So yeah, but I'm leaving, so I'm gonna leave the thing open. Like, I'm gonna leave, yeah, just the co-pilot skill open, because again, depending on the pilots, right? I don't want to have a best build out here for the thing. So oh yeah, one thing I didn't talk about is the core. So the core, again, oh, I did talk about the core, but again, a core is, you can go for more, you know, more damage, or you can go for, yeah, more bullets, or you can just go for something like defense. It's not, again, not that picky. So yeah, well, so that should be it about Tensen Who. And in PvE, I wouldn't really use it in PvE unless you really have to, and if you want to use it in PvE, probably just pure bullet count amount for both the pilot and for the and for the builds. Just full bullet amount again. And if you want to see if the bullet amount increases, you can just see the type of weapon that they have, and then corresponding with the, you know, what's it called, with the that would amount, like with the parts description, and you can go into the battle to see if it does increase the amount of bullets that has in there. So yeah. Alright, let me read some things. Granted, he was eventually free via an event. Yeah. Have a new jet build, have a new jet boy building right now itself. Oh, nice, yeah. Well, what have you attention with Echo Saga build? Okay, they're kind of different, or they're built different, because Echo Saga, hold on. Let me see my Echo Saga build. Okay, so Echo Saga, what's it called? They're a bit different, because Echo Saga do damage using its guns, right? Like, or, well, so does Tensen Who, but they do damage differently. One have an HP removal, so it already doesn't really require damage, like you know, actually doing damage, but its gun can do can actually do damage. So that's when you can use Ether Shell, so it can ignore more, you know, even more defensibility to do even more damage. So, which it doesn't apply on Tensen Who, because Tensen Who's bullet doesn't actually do the damage. Is the damage that combined with the chassis to do the damage. So your goal for Tensen Who is to shoot as much as possible onto the enemies, and then every 10 hits it will do big damage. While for Echo Saga is your gun do damage, you put damage in, you shoot, and big damage shoot enemies. So like that, kind of like that. So yeah, so the build wouldn't really interchange, but you can see some of the similar things here, like for example the battery, the survivability, the you know, the armor, the coatings, the Scorpion, second Scorpion. Now, Masago can shoot during her co-pilot skills downtime because it couldn't move when it is like when it got hit. When it got hit by a fatal attack, but because Masago is force shoot, it is a force shooting abilities, then it can still shoot. It just couldn't do any actions. However, for Tensen Who, that is not a weapon. For Tensen Who, that is an action. Like its chassis is an action. So even if they are with her defensive ability, like where is it? Yeah, even if she's with like her defensive skill, it wouldn't trigger the action. Therefore, it wouldn't trigger the, or at least as far as I know, it wouldn't trigger the action, and it wouldn't trigger the thing. Like I actually tested it before the stream as well. Like it would trigger once, and then for the entirety of the 10 second, it really wouldn't trigger it. So this is used Igarashi again, and then let's just reduce the damage to 0 and have the thing fight. Yep. So yeah, there you go. And you can see now that it attack is not doing anything. It is not, yeah. The skill's activated. It's not, yeah. It's been 5 seconds. It's not really shooting it. And see, the moment it can move, then it will use its abilities. So, yeah, yeah. So they kind of function differently. Again, just know if you want Tensen Who to do more damage, just more bullet. The more bullet you put on an enemy, the more damage that will take. For Ekawazago, it just if it's just to be accurate with some of the shot, and the enemy will die because the HP removal and the pure damage from the gun. So. Alright, so that should be it about Tensen Who. So alright, so let's talk about the new pet Envy in NC. So where's Envy? Again, if you have any questions, you can feel free to ask either here or down in the comments, or in our Discord. So where's the pets? Where's the pets slot? Where's the where's the pets? Where's the pets? Oh, is there no? Hold on. Do we not have a thing here at the moment? I guess we don't have one. Oops. No, whatever. I guess I'm going to the pet encyclopedia, which is a long scroll. But anyway, okay. So that pet is just take about, I think, 2% of the max HP unit every 1 second and add it to your own HP. So pretty good against 0, but other than that, it's not that useful. Like, it can, like, unless you're like, yeah, I don't know, it's like against 0 it can probably be pretty good, but is it better than just killing 0 using like a regular method, right? Like why don't you just kill 0 using Tensen Who, or kill 0 using even, killing Leviathan? Like 0 is not that much of a threat. You don't like, yeah. Well, I mean, 0 is a threat, but you can kill 0. Not that difficultly, I guess. Yeah, it's not that hard to kill 0 the regular way, and the only other option, or the only other use aside from just killing more 0 and bolstering your own HP, is that, oh yeah, there you go. Is that it's called Invidia. Okay, why is it called Invidia now? All right, there's some changes between the thing. Okay, I'll probably be changing the titles, but yeah, apparently it's called Invidia now. So yeah, once every second, transfer to 2% HP of the max HP with highest HP. Higher than yourself, to self. Basically, yeah. So like, good. I guess good against 0, and maybe against teams that has only one star team. Like if someone's going for like a Hongwu star team, then that can probably work. Like this pet might work, but outside of those two aspects, which again, both of those team can be easily dealt with if you know how to deal with them. Other than that, this bit's not worth it, even if it sounds really strong. You know, once every second you can do that, like, sounds pretty good, but it is not worth, like, it is a good pet, but it's not worth your entire, you know, your entire, what's it called, your yeah, one entire Starlight badges. If you got it, then it's fine, right? If you got it, you can probably use it against zero. You know, zero is still prevalent even until lately, like, not anymore in NC, but it is still usable lately. But it is something that is not worth a Starlight in my opinion. So, but if you did get it, you can probably use it as a substitute to a Scorpion or something like that. That can definitely work. So yeah. Or if you can put it like a unit that require more survival or something like that, that can probably work too, yeah. So alright, so that should be it about Envy. So now let's get into Meimi's Awaken. So Meimi Awaken, as I talked about before, I keep on forgetting, or I keep on doesn't have time to talk about it, but today I can finally do that. So let's go to her real quick, and it should be pretty quick. So Meimi Awaken, active skill, reload all ammo and fires them for 3 seconds. Pretty good actually. You know, most attack that does that are not terrible, I should say. Doing pilot will immune, you'll be immune to most damage, and of course drone attack interval will minus 50%. That's pretty awesome. If you're going for a drone build, upon activation, you know, attack reload speed of the special ammo, which is usually drones, have their plus 30% basically. I think it lasts the entire battle, I should say. Hold on, let me just double check, right? If it does, of course, it's just a pretty good active skill. A full burst can probably burst, depending on the mecha that you put it on, you can probably burst, you know, they can probably burst the entire, you probably burst one unit depending on the mecha that you have her on, and of course it will just be, and those be a lasting effect for the reload speed, which is again pretty important for any drone, you know, any drone builds. So, but it is not a unit that I would like prioritize on, I should say. Like, I don't think I have, yeah, I don't have it max, because again, it does require you to activate active skill, which, you know, who knows when that will happen, and of course, you know, like, yeah, it's not as strong as her other skills in my opinion. So, alright, so now, second skill, extended duration of missile and drone by 30%. Very important, again, very important for drone builds. Pretty much a go-to drone build, you know. I mean, she is a drone build, like, pilot, but she's not a go-to if you want to go for drone builds. And attack with range attack plus 30%. When piloting a mid-range unit perform an action within. Hold on, I'll use it. Okay, so when you're using a mid and long-range units, and when you're using an action that has over 5-second cooldowns, it will activate basically her old active skill, which is fine. Like, the main skill, like the main thing about the skill is the 30%, you know, increase on the durations. But, you know, having an extra damage source is not too bad. So, yeah. And of course on this, for the third skill, attack final damage increased by 30%, and at the same time you're 30% chance to launch missiles and deal area attack is also pretty good, because, you know, there's no cooldown. It's just 30% chance if your drone can be shooting, you know, the enemies, or if your range attack is shooting enemies by a lot, you can probably trigger a lot of the missiles for it to do potentially more damage and potentially one-shot the enemies even faster. And then now for the last skill, which is pretty awesome, because, you know, now that she have pretty good offensive abilities, now she have a pretty good defense abilities that can actually keep her alive pretty well, even on like a unit that isn't meant for drones. That just, if you want a unit to be alive, like Grimace and Kaiser, you can probably do that just because of this skill. So, okay, and if you ever wonder why you couldn't kill her in, or why she's hard to kill in challenges, is because of this skill. So, whenever it take non-normal type damage, so basically every other type of damage, there is basically no, like, yeah, okay, so yeah, whenever it takes any kind of damage that isn't normal, it will heal 2% HP. constantly essentially. And if you have firm steel on, let's say if you don't like, let's say if you're capping firm steel, you can only do 1% damage technically, you know, because it will heal 2% and you can only do maximum 3% of or around 3% of HP. So pretty crazy skill actually. And you know, if you're putting this unit on something like Great Mazing Kaiser, right, or Mazinga Zero, it might just not die because you are already not doing that much damage, and whenever you're doing damage that isn't normal, it can just heal 2%. And how are you supposed to kill this thing without AC removal or something like that, right? So of course it will still die if it kills, you know, if some other special kind of damage kill him, like for example Tensen Who or some other type of damage kill him. But if you don't know what is going on, and if you're using non-normal type damage on you know, on you know, against whoever Meimi is piloting, that can make it harder to kill compared to if you're using like a pure normal damage type or some other things, right? So, and of course, you know, when it does damage that is non-normal, you have a 20% chance to do 150% more damage, which is pretty good in both PvP and PvE. Just extra damage, and of course, fire damage reduction by 28%. Pretty awesome too for PvP. So, but yeah, pretty awesome pilot overall. A must-have for any if you want to build for drones, especially if you really want to use her. If you want to go for drone builds. And then she also have a really good survivability skills that can potentially help, but again, it does depend on you know, if like it kind of required enemies. Well, it didn't require enemies, but you better hope the enemies are attacking you using, you know, non-normal type damage, I guess. And then she can be healing a lot and potentially just keep her alive on the field for a bit longer. But the thing is, right? She, as I said before, if you want to build for drone builds, then she's a go-to pilot. However, that is also her limitations, because if you don't want to build her for drones, well, I guess compared to some other units, right? For example, compared to some other units, or compared to another pilot Awaken, like for example, her, right? Serenity, I think. She works for any kind of range unit. Like she doesn't need a unit to be drones. Like drone or not, she can do it. So not that she is better than her, but because she is more versatile, most people might just go for Serenity compared to Meimi, because again, Meimi is just quite specific on drones, so might be too specific on drones and missiles, I guess so. But again, she's still pretty good pilot. But the thing is, right now Ian doesn't really have a unit that really suits her at the moment, because when she is usable, or when she is being used more, is when her drop is when where is it? It's when where is she? It's when Inazami drops, because Inazami can go for drone builds if you want to go for it, and that can be pretty good. Other than that, like maybe Loki. Yeah, Loki also has his drones, so Loki can use it. But for now, even until she works too. Yeah, WAP works too. But aside from that, actually, I'm not sure about Loki, but I think I mixed up WAP and Loki. But WAP and Izanami. And other than that, I'm not sure if any other units are great, unless you're using her as a tank on Great Mazing Kaiser or on Mazinger Zero. Other than that, yeah, she is too picky about pilots compared to, say, Serenity, where Serenity can also be on Izanami, even safer in my opinion, or SWAP or some other, you know, range units that can be more stable. And by the time when Echo Vasako drop, Echo Vasako are usually with her own pilot, and yeah, so but yeah, good pilot, but you know, too limited of a mecha for her to be that useful yet. And I just hope when a mecha that suits her came out, she is still usable, I guess, and not replaceable by Serenity, because Serenity is too versatile to be a ranged Awaken pilot, so it would be very hard for for her to not be replaceable by Serenity. Like, of course, if you're going for pure drone build, you know, Meimi will always be better than Serenity, of course, but again, Serenity works for everyone. Like any range units doesn't really need drones, and again, sometimes Serenity might even perform better. So yeah. But yeah, so that should be everything I should talk about today. If you guys have any questions, just let me know. And yeah. Oh yeah, true, yeah. Alright, well, if no more questions, I'll call it a day. And if I missed anything, you know, just what's it called? Or if the stream ended before you could ask a question, just put it down in the comments and in the description, or just join Discord and ask me in our Discord. Both of that works. And yeah, and if I forgot, just remind me again by tagging me, and that should be it. Yeah. All right. Pretty quick stream today. Only 1 hour long. That's not bad. Again, video soon on thing. All right. Well, see you all next time. Goodbye. Yeah, thank you.